Hello, everyone, and welcome to a moment of gratitude with the Sanctuarian. Today, I am very excited. I have two lovely women here joining me today. I have Mickey and Kelly, who are co-authors of The House on Hoarder Hill. They're going to be telling us about their second book as well today. Before we get into asking a few questions, I actually want to go ahead and show you a little teaser trailer that they brought with them today on their first book. Bear with me. I'm working with the technology. We'll get it going here. Okay, 1 second. I realize there's no sound to it, so let me click back. We're all learning the technology. All right, here we go. This will be better.
Now, kids, I need you guys to promise that you'll be on your best behavior for Granddad John.
Hello?
Remember, he doesn't have visitors much. Be nice.
You think you're going to fit on with magic?
Cool. Well, Spence, Granddad's been retired a long time now, sweetie. He doesn't perform his magic anymore.
Don't touch that! It's okay. No harm done. How about a hug for your granddad?
Can you teach me some magic this holiday, Granddad?
Whoa, you want to get secrets out of me while you're here, eh? Don't leave anything lying around you're not prepared to lose. Don't go snooping about the house, especially when it's dark. But whatever you do, don't touch anything.
Grandad,
Yes, Eddie?
why don't you do magic anymore?
Firstly, there is no magic in this house, only tricks. You see, tricks simply take practice and flair. You learn to make your audience see one thing and do another. Magic can be dangerous. Magic takes power. Magic takes belief. And I lost both of those things the day your grandmother disappeared.
So magic is real. Hey, doesn't believe in it.
Well, perhaps magic is a very sensible thing not to believe in.
All right, that was amazing. So, do you guys want to go ahead and tell us just a little bit about the creative process and creating this first book and leading up to this trailer?
I'll jump in and just say that the trailer at the time, the book at the time was called The Mysterious House on Hoarder Hill, and then our publisher changed it to The House on Hoarder Hill. So just in case you're wondering why there were two separate titles. And what we did was we shot the trailer in London, and the little boy that you see in the trailer is Tom Holland's brother, Tom Holland being Spider-Man, and his younger brother is Spencer, and his who's plays Spencer in the trailer, and then Tom's other brother Harry directed it for us. And then yes, we shot it all in London in 1.5 days.
That's amazing. So I think we cut out a little bit there. We were a little frozen on my side. So if you just want to run through that one, we caught right at the end of that, Mickey.
Oh, which part? So which part?
The creative process. It cut right in at the end of talking about the trailer.
Oh, sorry. So what we did, we shot that trailer in London in 1.5 days. And the little boy that plays Spencer in the trailer is the brother of Tom Holland, who's the current Spider-Man. And his other brother, who was 18 at the time, also directed it for us. So we shot that sizzle trailer to help sell our idea so that people could see what we were visualizing.
That's
Yeah, at the
amazing.
time, the idea was one that Mickey and I were working on as a TV concept. We pitched a few episodes and the concept to some producers, and one of them made a comment that he'd really love to see it as a book. So we started writing it in book form, and on the strength of the sizzle reel and some chapters, we were able to get a literary agent and entertainment agents as well. So we were pursuing two paths at once and doing this while Mickey's based in California, I'm in Australia, and our sizzle reel production team was in London. So it was a real intercontinental experience.
That's amazing. And how did the writing process go with you both being located on opposite ends of the world?
We did a lot of emailing and Skyping in pajamas. One of us was always in pajamas, usually Kelly, I think, because Kelly's in Australia and she's a day ahead, but it was always morning for her whenever we'd Skype. And we would just either talk or email ideas through, and then we'd figure out what was going to tell the best story, and then Kelly would just put that into beautiful words, which formed the book.
Yeah, so we really broke the story together, so I'd write pages, send them to Mickey. Mickey would provide feedback on additional dialogue, new action that could be woven in. Very, very much distant partnership there. Thank God for technology. And I think the rest of the world is catching up to the beauty of video conferencing and all that sort of thing now.
That's amazing. And do either of you have advice that you would give those young writers out there that are interested in writing a book or creating written content similar that could lead to a trailer or a movie or a series?
Kel?
Sure. Read lots. Read all that you can. Figure out what you like, what sort of stories you like to read, and then write as much as you can. Whether or not you show that to people, you have to put pen to paper every day or fingers to keyboard every day and just build up that writer's habit. It's no good having the ideas just sitting in your head, because it's the act of crafting those into words on a blank screen that will help you exercise those muscles. So I think another piece of advice that I've found really valuable is finish things. You may have a great idea to start with. You've got to get to the end, put it aside for a little while, come back to it with fresh eyes, and then figure out how to refine that story. Yeah, so it's, persistence, really.
And if you do get stuck, just write something exciting happens here or something happens here, and then just keep going. Because sometimes as you keep writing, that problem will solve itself, and then you realize you can go back to it and write that little part. But if you get stuck somewhere, just keep writing. Just go back to it if you have to. As Kelly and I we pretty much had the beginning and the end of the house on Horder Hill, and then we worked backwards.
Yeah, and the classes we've spoken to so far, you know, that they've got great understanding of how to make a story. So you start off with a small problem, that problem builds, and then you have to find resolution at the end. So none of that changes. All writers go through the same thing. I think it's just a matter of experience in figuring out what sort of problem you need to make yourself excited, and then figuring out fun complications again along the way. One of the really cool questions we had from one kid was, what bits did you not like in your story? And I think what we said was that if we found we didn't like something we were writing, we knew it had to go. So if it wasn't exciting us, it wasn't worth having in the story. So even bits that started off as possibly dull, just exposition, we had to find a way to turn that into something we really enjoyed working on. And we knew that excitement would start to bleed through in the page, in the words that came out on page.
And Kelly always says, don't write, because we would sometimes come up with these great ideas and we just wanted it to fit in the book and there was no place for it. And that's really hard when you have something that you really love and you've got to just cut it out, get rid of it, and just keep going because there's no place for it and it doesn't work with the story. So as Kelly says, it can't just be cool. There has to be a purpose.
Yeah, and there are a few favourite bits that our publisher, or our editor rather, was advising we perhaps cut, and we just did not have the heart to lose those. So we found a way to make them integral to the plot. Once they were integral to the plot, had a purpose, and we were able to defend those favourite moments. So that was a great learning for us.
That's fantastic. And let me rethink the question. I think it's great too, because anyone that's in that creative writing process, I know a lot of friends that write music and things like that they get stuck. And I think that's important advice, just to keep going, because you're always going to have inspiration and things coming to you throughout the process, as long as you don't try to focus on one specific thing and dwell on that, because then, as everybody knows, you just get frustrated and then you start to overthink of what you've already written and how is it going to work together. And I think that's just a great piece of advice for our listeners, just to continue going and realizing that things are going to come. You're always learning, you're always experiencing new things that you can then pull from and tie from, which is where a lot of the great books and movies have come from. It's great experiences that people have had in their own life. Now, are there any challenges that you have had to overcome a little bit being across the world from each other in the writing process? I know you said you deal a lot with technology. Is there any bumps in the road you've had to overcome with that?
I don't think so. Do you, Kel?
No, I mean, I think we've actually been able to turn it into a strength of our working relationship. So, there are sort of more hours in that 24-hour period where someone is writing on the story and progressing it. So obviously, from my perspective, Mickey will be up earlier in the day. So I'll wake up to new ideas in the inbox, and then I will put in some hours and then send that across to Mickey, and then she'll review it while I'm working on other things. So two minds are better than one. And I think working in a partnership, certainly from my point of view, it is a great motivator to have someone else waiting there for the pages. If I was left to my own devices, I'd probably have those days where it's just too hard, just can't get anything out, and not write anything. So knowing someone is waiting on your output is a really great way to just work through those days where you're feeling a bit blocked. And also, we immediately have a bit of an editorial eye going over our ideas. So if an idea works for both of us, we know that it is strong enough to give it a try. Yeah.
And
That's
also,
wonderful.
we're quite different. I'm very much all over the place. Kelly's much more structured, which also pulls me into line. Well, it does a little bit. Kelly knows how to contain me and contain the ideas, and then add or even change them. You know, sometimes I may suggest something or Kelly suggests something and we don't quite connect to it, but it actually spins that into a completely different idea, which ends up working. And that's happened a lot for us.
That's great. And I think too, a lot of our listeners here are interested in just kind of the process of from start to finish, where you come up with the concept and move into. Do you have any advices? What are the staples that you would recommend they start with if they are interested in creating an idea and creating a storyline, basically?
For me personally, or for us also, I think with The House on Horta Hill, the story, the initial story was that two kids were living on the streets of New York, and they come across, oh, my cat's about to say hello, and they come across a derelict house where this old man was living, and he had hoarded all these magical items. And then the idea just grew from there, from people giving us advice, or just the story just naturally changed. Sorry, there's my cat's butt.
We love all the guests.
Well,
yeah, so I guess we had the characters and the setting at the outset, and then like any storyteller, you have to find the conflict of your story. So without conflict, there's not going to be anything exciting to happen. It'll just be people doing stuff. So it seemed natural that if we wanted a story set within a house and contained to a very small set of characters, that their main conflict would be with their grandfather, the owner of the house. So we had to keep putting obstacles into the way of the kids to stop them solving the mystery too early. And I guess one piece of advice that I got very early on was conflict on every page. Someone has to want something badly, and something has to be in the way of them getting it immediately.
I think that's some great advice. And so where is the book released now? I know the US release date is coming 2021. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's right. So it released in the UK in March this year, in Australia, New Zealand in June, and I think we have editions out in Finland, the Netherlands, the Czech Republic, possibly Poland. We've got Germany coming up, France coming up, and other territories like Russia, Romania, Spanish language countries, between now and July 2021, which is when the US edition will be published.
It's fantastic. And have you noticed any kind of changes in the way you stepped into the marketing process of really promoting this book coming into a pandemic of 2020, where in-person things and promotions just aren't happening?
it's been quite difficult, challenging. Yeah. And also because this is our first novel. So, we're not known. So you're trying to fight for some sort of space. We've had, amazing reviews just across the board, which has been fantastic.
Yeah, it's definitely been an online experience, and a pandemic is a terrible time to release a book. So our agent, gave us some insight into the publishing world in this period. And basically, if you're David Walliams or Julia Donaldson, you're fine. Parents know those authors, and if you're online shopping, you're far more likely to go with an author more than explore new voices. So there's that challenge. Bookstores are physically closed, so people can't just go and browse shelves as they normally would. and book fairs are also not being held. So our publishers haven't been able to connect with international markets as easily. So they have all been challenges, but we've really loved doing blog tours and Zoom visits with schools. I've been lucky enough to do one in-person visit with a school, which is super, super fun. The energy in the room and the questions coming in from the kids are absolutely inspiring.
I love one of the questions Kelly got in person, and it was, can you do magic? And she said no, and he said, good, I'm not in the mood.
not in the mood for magic today. I was like, ooh, challenge accepted, buddy.
That's wonderful. So now you have a second book that is in the works. And how did the process from the first book kind of lead into the creation of the second?
Yeah, we learned a lot. Sorry, Mickey, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say where we were able to take our time on the first book. The second, we were fortunate that quite a few countries wanted to sign us up for a 3-book deal, which was just amazing. And that was all from the strength of the first book. So it was we sort of had an outline of book 2 and 3 anyway, but then it was a real shuffle and sort of trying to get it done quickly. But also the pandemic worked in our favour when we're writing, because we were then given more time, because everything in the book industry had just slowed down. So we got more time, which was amazing. And we've just finished book 2, and it's just in the editing copy edit stage. And then as we're writing 2, we were already trying to figure out book 3.
Yeah, so we definitely learn a lot from the process of book 1. Book 1 was this jungle of 140,000 words that we handed in to our publisher. So early on, our agent signed us up with a German book publisher, and they wanted this to be, I think they call it a schmucken, which is a big fat book that you curl up with in front of the fireplace in winter. So we went for this chunky word count. Then we landed our British publishing deal, and our publisher said, we need you to cut the word count by half. So so I think of the editing process of the first book as we handed in this jungle. Our publisher and our editor told us, let's just trim what you feel is not essential to the story. So we brought it down under 100,000 words, and then they really started helping us find which patches of the garden needed to be kept, and topiary, manicure, perfecting those. Whereas with book 2, we knew exactly what sort of word count we needed to hit. So the first draft that we handed in was only, say, 5,000 or 10,000 words over that. The process of trimming the garden was a lot less painful this time around.
That's great. So my series is called A Moment of Gratitude. So I want to ask you, ladies, what are you most grateful for right now?
I guess for me especially, would be health and just, and family. I just have to go with that because of everything that's going on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And Kelly, I'm grateful for Kelly.
I was just about to say I'm super grateful for meeting Mickey. So Mickey and I met through my brother Doug. Mickey knew Doug from working on the film The Wolverine, I think. And so he really made us, and that's been an absolute life changer. So if I hadn't met Mickey, I would still be dreaming about, finishing a novel and not actually reaching the finish line on that. And, despite everything, although we talk about how difficult it is to release a book during a pandemic, how lucky are we that we have a book out there in the market? As Mickey says, we have our health, and, it's allowed me to work my day job from home. I'm lucky to have a job. So, yeah, cannot complain.
And we also named Kelly's brother Doug in the book. He's Doug the Rug in the book, so we got a little shout out.
Yeah, he absolutely loves that. So he's now on my phone as Doug the Rug. It comes up as Doug the Rug when he ever sends me a message or calls.
That is amazing. So you mentioned that you speak with schools. For those listeners out there, what is a way for them to be able to reach out to you if they're interested in having you guys speak to their students?
Do you provide any kind of contact at the end of this? We're happy for people to email us directly, or we've also got a Instagram page, the House on Horder Hill, or under Kelly's name or my name. We've both got Instagram pages as well, and our Facebook page as well.
Absolutely.
And we're on Twitter, so yeah, happy to to connect and chat with people through any of those.
Perfect. And yes, I will be sending out an email for any of those that are on my mailing list. You will receive a recording of this interview today, as well as all of the links and how to get a hold of Mickey and Kelly. So that'll definitely be in there. So go ahead and visit J Flowers Organizing to sign up for that list if you want to go ahead and receive all of their contacts.
And we have a little PowerPoint presentation that we do for the schools and everything, and there's interaction, and we sort of break down the process. So it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, we really try to support. We can't do no magic tricks, unfortunately, but I think we both have magician's top hats, so we will roll out the props to keep things interesting for kids. And yeah, we try to support, I guess, the framework that teachers like to use in teaching kids how to create stories of their own and encourage that.
That's perfect. So I do want to go ahead and let everyone know, if you do have any questions for Kelly and Mickey, you can go ahead and put those right in the chat box. They're excited to answer any questions that you may have. So where can they currently purchase the book if they wanted to go ahead and get a copy of The House on Horder Hill?
You can get it via Amazon, US Amazon, and also there's a site called the Book Depository, and they don't charge you for international shipping. But as of next year, the Americans are actually changing the cover. Let me see if I've got a copy of it. No, I don't have it. So the Germans have a new cover, and the Americans have a cover which they feel speaks to their demographic or their kids in that country, which has been a lot of fun to sort of see what they've come up with.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, and the American cover, the artist for that is an Icelandic artist, so it's fantastic to see the international collaboration that goes on to create these books.
Amazing. All right. Well, I want to go ahead and thank you guys again for being amazing guests on my series. I really do appreciate you taking times out of your busy schedules right now. And again, if anybody wants to go ahead and reach out to them, I will be sending out their information. So do you have any questions for our audience today, ladies?
I don't think so. I'd love to know. I'd love to hear sort of who had tuned in, whether it was schools or libraries or just because you know Jocelyn. So
yes, absolutely.
Yeah, and if there are any educators out there in the audience, yeah, you know, we're always interested to know what you would like to hear from authors when they visit students.
Absolutely. Oh, one thing I forgot to ask, what is the age range of the readers for this book for our listeners out there?
9 plus. So it's aimed at a sort of slightly older middle grade audience.
Okay, perfect. All right, ladies, again, I am so excited that you guys were able to join me today. And again, if you want to reach out to them, they are on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and I will have their contacts as well in my email. So stay tuned for that. And we'll see you on the next episode of A Moment of Gratitude. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Thank you, Kelly. Thank you, Mickey.
Jocelyn.
Thank you, Jocelyn. Appreciate
Kelly.
it. Bye.
Bye.